All right, thanks. Thanks for that introduction. Yeah, that was awesome. Because he had asked me, hey, can you type some things up so I give you a good introduction? I never did. So it's really, thanks for that. Appreciate that. So my name's Tray Honeycutt. Hey, my job here is to give you a bunch of value in a little bit of time. I know y'all are hungry. It's been a long day. I appreciate you all for staying. I'm going to share with you some things that I feel like, looking back, if somebody were to ask me a question, Trey, if you had to do it all over again, what are some things you've learned in the process that maybe could speed the process up for other people? How many people would like to know what that is? All right, so I'm going to tell you a story. When I got started in this industry, I was broke. I didn't have any money. I'd failed at everything financially I'd ever done. I'd been bankrupt. I'd lost everything. We lost the house that we brought our kids home to. We lost the cars. We lost all the stuff. Wasn't sure if my in-laws even liked me before then, but they never condemned me. So then I figured out, hey, they really love me. And my wife stayed with me. So I was like, she really loves me too. So all the fake stuff that I was working for and living for, I realized really didn't matter at all. And I got really clear about the things that were really important in my life. Around that time, my mother was diagnosed with lung cancer. Now, I lost my dad in 2006 when and a big part of this business, this is why I'm trying to tell you this, is like perspective. How many people think you've had a bad day in insurance, right? Like, the thing I learned early on, the first lesson was to understand the difference between a problem and a situation. See, a situation, you can write a check and fix. A problem is stage 4 brain cancer, right? You can't just write a check and fix that. So one night, she says she needs to talk to me. We were at a work site. My dad bends down to pick something off the ground that morning, and he couldn't stand back up. Now, he wasn't fat like me. He was in great shape. He had a six-pack when he was 51 years old. And it was really weird that he couldn't get off the ground. So we're like, something's wrong. So we take him in, and they said, well, he has pneumonia. That's what it is. He has pneumonia. We're like, okay. And then what they did was they ran some more tests, and they figured out that on the x-ray, they couldn't see that he had a tumor on one of his lungs because it was behind his heart. And then they did some more tests and figured out he had 2 more tumors on the other lung, a tumor on his brainstem, 13 tumors on his brain, 1 in his spinal cord, 1 in his kidney, and 1 in his liver. Now, what's interesting about that is he never as much complained about he never even complained about a headache, right? The first thing we ever noticed was he would pick something back up and he couldn't get off the ground. And they found out that the 1 tumor on his brain, the biggest one, was the size of an orange. So the doctor lays all this stuff on him. We go outside because he says, hey, can I get a cigarette? And my mom's like, what's wrong with you? And the doctor was like, you do anything you want now. Might as well. He's like, yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm going to die anyway. I'm going to go smoke. So he goes out there, and we're standing out there, and there's a lady out there in handcuffs. And there's 2 sheriff's deputies standing over there, and she's smoking. My dad goes out there, he's smoking with his IV pole. And she goes, how are you? And he goes, pretty good. Now, Grant, he just told, all that stuff just got told to him. And he goes, how are you? And then for the next 6 minutes, she relayed the most tragic, gruesome unfolding of events of a wrecked life of a person you've ever heard. She talked about how she was getting taken to county because she stabbed her daughter-in-law, because she slapped the kid, and somebody stole her meth, and she went on this whole thing. And my dad was like, okay. So she walks off, and my dad turns to me and he goes, man, just when you think you got it bad. And it absolutely changed my life, because he was just told he had weeks to live. And when I think about what happens in this business, my role in this business is to lead. So when things are bad, I never let people see that it's bad. See, that's your job. Some of y'all, like Sean said it earlier about never complaining to the team. Some of y'all just complain too much to your team. That's why it doesn't grow. And I'm trying to cram a lot in a little bit of time, but I'll tell you another story. When I was a kid, 1982, I was 4 years old. My very first memory, my parents owned a little convenience store in Mississippi. And one night, my mom's making the chicken. We sold chicken at the store. And my dad's at the front counter, and I am in the back room. And I hear this commotion, and I go up, and I walk down the aisle where the cereal is. I still remember seeing my boots. And there's two men with a sawed-off shotgun pointing it at my dad's face. And one of them sees me, and he comes and he grabs me by the head, and he puts the shotgun in my face. It's my first memory. And my dad's freaked out. My mom comes out for making chicken. She sees that they have me. She smiles, gets really calm, ignores everything they're saying to her about what they're gonna do to me and what they're gonna do to her, walks up, grabs me by the hand, and calmly walks me to the back of the store, and she put me in the freezer, the walk-in cooler at the store. And the whole time they were talking about how they were gonna kill my dad, they're gonna kill me, they're gonna kill her. And she said, no, you're not, it's okay, you can have all the money, everything's okay, I'm just gonna take care of this. She could have ran out the back door, she could have done a lot of stuff. The whole time she's smiling at me, she's telling me she loves me. She's telling me everything's gonna be okay. And then she walked back to the front of the store. They take her outside, they demand for her to get in the car, and she refuses to do it. They ripped the phone off the wall. My dad, it still worked. He called the chief of police who lived across the street in the trailer park, small town in Mississippi. Chief lives in a trailer park, you know, you're in a small town in Mississippi. And she never left with him, and everything turned out okay. And when I look back at that, when I got grown, when my mom was sick, I asked her, I said, weren't you scared? And she goes, yeah, I was scared. I was terrified. I go, weren't you afraid they were gonna kill you? She goes, I'm surprised they didn't kill me. I go, why were you smiling? She goes, because I didn't want the last thing for you to see on my face is fear. And so, how many of y'all think like that? You should act like that. Like, just get the perspective right. A chargeback, a missed appointment, somebody not showing up, none of that really matters. They're not your customers now. It can't get any worse. A lot of the problems that you have is just you haven't made a decision to be here a year from now. That's the best advice I could give anybody. How many people have ever been really bad at something before? How many people got good at that very same thing? What did it take? Time and practice. That's it. Activity is the mother of all learning. Repetition is the mother of all skill. What that means is you learn by doing, and you get better by doing it again. And don't compare yourself to everybody else, because there's always a story behind the story that you don't see. John Wetmore changed my life. He did a training that year before he helped 460 families that year. And he said his goal was that year to run 20 appointments a week. And if he did that 50 weeks out of the year, that'd be 1,000 appointments. He helped 25% of the people, so he would do 250 that year, was his goal when he started out. And that year in October, he had already been over 400 families helped. And he said, the thing I didn't account for was momentum and getting better. That's the part where everybody's trying to quantify this, that doesn't grow like at a steady rate, it grows exponentially. So if you just have faith in that, it has to work. Does that make sense? All right, well, that's my talk. Thanks for having me.